What's up everybody, how's it going? It's Berg, aka Dansg08 here, and we are joined on this hangout for the intro anyway by Coco, because I wanted to give you guys an end of year hangout just to summarize the things that have been happening on the channel and to let you guys know what you can expect for the future. It's been an amazing year. It's been probably like the best year I've had on the Dansg08 channel, just because of like the milestones I've achieved and the new things I've brought to the channel. It's probably been the most fun that I've had on YouTube and the best I felt about it in a very, very long time. So I wanted to share that with you guys. I want to thank you guys for all of your support this year. And there's a lot to talk about in terms of like the content that I want to bring out and stuff that I want to do for the future and all that kind of stuff. Because one of the catalysts for me making this video now is because I've heard some more news about Final Fantasy X-3. It's kind of like, it's nothing too kind of specific and epic, but it keeps hinting at something potentially happening, and that coincides with some videos I want to make about X-3. So this is going to be an opportunity to talk a little bit about that and what I want to do with that stuff as well. So buckle up, we've got a lot to talk about in this hangout, and I hope you guys enjoy it as Coco gets a bit restless. I might as well show her a little bit more to the camera before she goes. This is the best we're going to manage. Alright, you can go. Go on. Go on, okay, alright. Because you don't want to get Coco angry. When Coco gets angry, like, bad shit happens, so you've got to watch out for that. So 2018 has been a massive year. Thank you all for being a part of it. 2019 is hopefully going to be even better. So let's get into the meat of this video and talk about some of the things that I'm going to be doing over the Christmas period and beyond on the Dansg08 channel. Of course, first of all, I'll start with Final Fantasy VII, which is the latest Final Fantasy walkthrough that I have been doing. I want to thank you all for turning up for that one. I was really happy with how part 1 started and like how you guys have been following through with the series. I don't really have any complaints about it so far. Like, the people have been liking videos, they've been writing nice comments, supportive comments. Even where I've been like screwing stuff up, they've been letting me know. They've been keeping it civilized, they've been keeping it like friendly and all that kind of stuff. So Final Fantasy VII in general, I'm having a really good time with so far. That's going to be more of a marathon than a sprint, so you know, I'm not going to be like uploading like 2 episodes every day and all that kind of stuff for it. I think in general for this channel, like unless something out of the ordinary happens where I've got like a special like one-off video or something like that, I tend to try and stick to having just 1 video a day. Because my videos are so long, you know, they can range from anywhere from like 25 to 45 minutes for one video. I try to keep it as one, because then I kind of basically there's a optimization thing where like if you upload too many videos in one day, it kind of counts against your channel more than it supports you. So just know that it's going to be a long series, there's going to be a lot to do, so just try to be patient with it, and hopefully you guys keep enjoying it, and it's going to last for a few months at the very least. So yeah, Final Fantasy VII, all good so far. Thank you to everybody that's turned up for that one. Of course, I keep getting people asking about Final Fantasy 3, and no matter how many different places I say it, you know, there's always going to be people that haven't seen that particular notice, but I'll say it again here just in case there's people that don't know. I will definitely be playing Final Fantasy 3, Lightning Returns, but that will of course happen after Final Fantasy 7. I'm not going to have concurrent Final Fantasy walkthroughs happening at the same time, but it's not going to be the case that I'm going to do Final Fantasy 2 and then just leave the trilogy there. Final Fantasy 3 will be coming to the channel. Then once that is done, then we're going to move on to Final Fantasy 6. So hopefully you guys are sensing a pattern here. So I'm going to slowly keep going backwards in time. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. I have completed the Final Fantasy 2 Coliseum DLC, and I'm in the process of editing and rendering the parts for that. I'm going to start uploading the Coliseum stuff as well in the run up to Christmas and maybe the New Year. I'm not sure if I'm going to finish uploading them all by then. But we're going to have like an extra maybe like 5-6 episodes or something like that. So I'll be uploading the Coliseum DLC as well. Some really epic and very long boss battles in there as well. But for people that have been following that series and that want to see me take on some genuinely difficult Final Fantasy bosses, I highly recommend checking out the Coliseum episodes when they come out. So that's another thing that you guys have to look forward to. So there's still plenty of Final Fantasy content to play on this channel. Maybe like in 2 or 3 years I'm going to be like, oh, I'm starting to run out of Final Fantasy games, and then we'll see what happens. This kind of segues on nicely to Kingdom Hearts, because of course a lot of people have shown me and asked me about Kingdom Hearts 3. Not a Kingdom Hearts guy right now. I've not really had any kind of major interest in playing it. Like when it comes to Disney and stuff, I'm not huge on it. Like I don't dislike it, but I'm not huge on it either. So like the whole idea doesn't really excite me that much.
That being said, like someday I do want to play the first Kingdom Hearts game just to see like, am I enjoying the vibe and if I want to continue playing them, because there's so many of them that's been released now that it would be silly for me to just jump in from Kingdom Hearts 3 just because it's relevant and there's a good chance I can get views and stuff like that. You guys know that's not really how I roll, so I'm not going to suddenly show an interest in the series now that Kingdom Hearts 3 is popular and hyped up. I'll maintain my position on Kingdom Hearts and say that I do want to play it someday, but it's not going to be during Kingdom Hearts 3 or anything like that. So expect Kingdom Hearts 1 at some point in the probably mid to distant future. It's not going to be like in the next 6 months or anything like that, but it will come someday, I hope. Last thing about current LPs and the whole LP thing is of course Bloodborne. I recently finished the first kind of main game playthrough of Bloodborne. That series, again, you know, thank you to everyone that supported me through that one, because that was something that's very different that I hadn't done before on the channel, and the fact that still, I mean, it's not like, when you look at it objectively compared to my subscribers, the numbers aren't great, but still, I mean, they're like half an hour, 40-minute long videos of a game that I don't usually play on the channel. So those of you guys that subscribed and that still came along for Bloodborne and that enjoyed the playthrough, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for checking it out. And of course, you know, anyone that hasn't checked out Bloodborne, I really think you should. Probably one of the most interesting LPs I've done on the channel, just because it's so different from what you're used to seeing in Final Fantasy, and the world is just so like visually and atmospherically rich that I do think that people should definitely give that LP a go, because they might end up enjoying it. So when it comes to Bloodborne, even though the main game is finished, there's still stuff that I need to do for it. There's bosses that I missed out because it was a first time playthrough and I just didn't find them, I didn't know where they were. So those bosses are going to be coming, and so is the DLC. Bloodborne is touted to have one of the best DLCs of all time, so I want to play that DLC and fight the extra bosses in there as well. So I think currently the playlist has 35 videos. Depending on when this comes out, it will be like 37. I'm assuming that'll probably go up to somewhere between like the 45-50 region by the time I'm finished with it. So there's more Bloodborne to come. Natural question from this is going to be, are you going to play the Dark Souls games? And that will actually segue nicely into the next thing I want to talk about. So once Bloodborne is done, I'm still going to have Final Fantasy 7 to play, and then I'm going to have Final Fantasy 13 after that. And then it's going to be like, well, so what do I play next that's not Final Fantasy? And this is where my Patreon account comes in. So after I decided for sure that I was going to play Bloodborne, I decided to add a poll on my channel, where patrons above a certain tier, I think it's like the second tier patrons, they all get a vote in which game I LP next, which is not Final Fantasy. So initially we had like a big list of about maybe like 15 games or something like that. We narrowed that down to the top 3, and then I let people vote a second time, and the votes were really close. I think it was like 17, 15 or something like that. It was really close between the 3 games. So they were Nier Automata, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Legend of Dragoon. So those were the 3 games that got the most votes in my Watch Late LP Next post. If you guys want to have a say in that, because once Bloodborne is completely finished, then I'm going to be going back to that poll and seeing which game won and starting to LP that one accordingly. So it's not too late if you guys want to have a say in that. If you're like, maybe my vote will swing it, because there's literally, I think, 2 or 3 votes between the first place game and the third place game. So anyone can make a difference at this point. Sign up to Patreon if you get on the second tier, if you can, and then you will have a greater say in which game I LP next. So that's that thing. Continuing the topic of Patreon, one thing that I had a few patrons asking me over time is whether I'd ever have any new tiers which would offer any new things. In case you haven't been on my Patreon for a while or you've never seen it before, there's a couple of like high tiers that are for people that have slightly more disposable income that want to support the channel in a slightly bigger way. These guys get even more interesting perks. So like for the 4th tier out of 5, if you guys are able to support me at that level, you gain access to a Discord that only me and people of that tier are a part of. If you guys want to communicate with other dedicated fans of the channel and me in a more private Discord type environment, then that's a tier that you can jump into if you are able to, of course. And the final tier is one where you get your name in the video description and in the top comment. And if you stay in that tier for 6 months, then I send you guys a personalized postcard of my Final Fantasy or an artwork, and I write you guys a little message, so you have something personal from me that you can keep as a little memento. It goes without saying that my policy since day one on Patreon has been that if people can't afford to support me on Patreon, they don't miss out any video content on the channel. that is still the same, so they don't get any exclusive videos that no one else gets to see, or like any special live streams that like anyone else can't attend or anything like that. So any video that you see on the YouTube channel is a video that can be seen by anyone, regardless of whether they support me on Patreon or not. And that's something that's not going to change, because it's one of the, like, I'm very stubborn with my principles, and since the day I created the Patreon, it was always going to be like that. So that's the deal with Patreon, in case anyone was interested and anyone wants to take a browse of my Patreon page. Now then, let's talk about what kind of videos I want to make for the future of the channel. Of course, the walkthrough LP thing will always continue, and one of the greatest things about Patreon is that the income that I can make from Patreon is something that really offsets the fact that a lot of my LPs outside of Final Fantasy don't get a lot of views. So a great example of this is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. I was going to play that game anyway, I really wanted to play it, so I LP'd it regardless of, I could have just said, oh man, this is only getting 300 views an episode, I'm going to abandon the series and do something that's going to get more views. But because I wanted to play the game, and there's still that small niche audience that likes to watch those things, I played it anyway. But in terms of, like, you know, financial return, obviously those kind of views are not really self-sustaining at all for an LP channel. I mean, because I do YouTube professionally, because it's my job, because I pay my bills with it, making consistent LPs that get 300 views is not a very smart thing to do if you're trying to make a living from this platform and you're trying to pay your bills. But because of the income that I receive from Patreon, I no longer have to be as reliant on the advertising revenue from those LPs. So the way I kind of rationalize it in my head is that the Final Fantasy LPs and the movie versions that I've done, and the one-off videos like the 20 things you didn't know about Final Fantasy, etc., those are all kind of videos that quote-unquote pay for themselves. So they all get kind of the views and the ad revenue that they need to make them worthwhile. And LPs that are not Final Fantasy, that don't get very many views, even though in terms of ad revenue and in terms of views they're more like just passion projects that I'm just putting out there for pretty much no revenue at all, that doesn't really matter because I've got the Patreon income to kind of offset that, so I don't mind being able to make those LPs as well. So this is good news for everyone, because if you're part of those 200-300 people that do watch LPs like Shadow of the Tomb Raider and you really enjoy it and you want me to continue to do those, it's part of it is thanks to these Patreon guys that are supporting me on there that I'm able to keep making those videos. So shout out to you guys on Patreon for that. So that's another reason why a platform like Patreon is so valuable for someone like me, because it really allows you to stay as independent as you can and not have to worry about clicks or advertising revenue or anything like that. So the poor performance of a series like Shadow of the Tomb Raider also made me think about some other things. Because of the way I make my videos, the way I record them, the way I edit them, I've spoken about this many times. LPs and like walkthroughs and stuff, they take longer for me to produce than most content creators, I think. But I've always been happy with the quality of my own videos and my workflow and how I do them. I've got very used to doing it, and that's how I enjoy doing it and all that kind of stuff. But it really did make me think, look man, instead of spending like probably like 100 hours or whatever on making the Tomb Raider LP, why not also spend some time making a few more of these videos that appeal to a slightly wider audience, that are going to be kind of more interesting, short and fresh, and something different to present to people. So if you noticed, over the last like 6 weeks or so, I've started to put out a few more Final Fantasy X related videos that are shorter, that are more fun in nature. So we had like the breathing underwater thing, we had the 5 things I dislike about Final Fantasy X. There was the Mobius thing, where I decided to try and latch onto something that's a bit more relevant, because I mean, if it's a Final Fantasy X thing and it's something that's relevant, that's happening right now in the news, then that's something that I feel like I need to try and jump into when I can. So I did the whole Mobius Final Fantasy X crossover thing, I talked about that. So I'm starting to try and sprinkle in more videos like this, because normally it's like I make 2 or 3 videos a year that aren't like Final Fantasy LPs or non-Final Fantasy LPs. But I want to up the rate of that, so I want to try and make like maybe a couple of videos a month that are a bit more like the 5 things I dislike about Final Fantasy, breathing underwater video, and all that kind of stuff. So alongside the LPs, I'm going to be working on more videos to try and talk about more interesting topics, and to try and find new areas to talk about with Final Fantasy X or any other Final Fantasy that I'm interested in talking about, and all that kind of stuff. This leads me into Final Fantasy X-3. So a couple of months ago, when I first made the decision to start like planning other potential videos that I could make, of course one video that I have to make is about Final Fantasy X-3, because as someone that has so much Final Fantasy X content and so many people enjoy listening to my thoughts of the game and stuff like that, I thought, well, I have to kind of officially weigh in on what I think about Final Fantasy X-3. Can it happen? Will it happen? Should it happen? How I would like it to happen? And all of these kind of questions. So I started jotting down some notes for this. I have like a few pages in like a notepad of stuff I want to talk about with Final Fantasy X-3. And recently, like literally within like, I think within like the last 24 hours of making this video, I started to see some stuff pop up on the internet about, I think it's Kitase, I'm not sure which of the producers / directors said it, but they're kind of hinting again that Final Fantasy X-3 is going to be a possibility. Apparently the artworks that they made of Tidus and Yuna in a potential X-3, they're ordering, like they want to make costume designs for these and that kind of stuff, and there's slowly like some heat being generated and some bubbles brewing regarding Final Fantasy X-3 becoming a thing. So I think it's a good time to start talking about, do I still think it's going to happen, when it might happen, how it might happen, and all that kind of stuff. So be expecting some Final Fantasy X-3 videos to come out. It's likely not going to be one video, because as always I'm going to have too much to say, I'm going to have too much to talk about. I'll probably break it down into like a 2 or 3 part like mini-series where I talk about my thoughts on X-3. So that's going to come. I've got my 5 favourite games of all time coming up, so that's something I might release over the Christmas period, which should hopefully be a lot of fun. I'm assuming that a lot of you guys will know the games that are on the list in general. You'll probably get at least 3 or 4 out of the 5, but it's always nice to have these kinds of videos on the channel for people that don't know your channel so well to find out about your opinions, for people to share their own opinions in the comments and to chat about them and that kind of stuff. So that'll be like a fun little video that I'll make at the end of the year. I have the sound recorded for that, I just need to edit it and put the visuals in for that one. So my 5 favourite games are coming up. Patrons, you guys will be able to see that early, of course, as you guys always do for that kind of content. Outside of that, I've got another thing that I want to do, which is to do with how I make my videos. So I talk about it often, but I haven't ever shown you guys. So what I want to do is show you guys literally like what does making videos look like for me. So what kind of equipment am I using? How am I editing the videos? I'm talking about like editing videos. What does that entail? When I upload videos, how do I upload them? How do I make the thumbnails? Like what do I put in my descriptions and all that kind of stuff? I'm literally going to give you guys a walkthrough of how Dansg08 makes and produces his videos, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're able to do something and you're able to help others be able to do it as well, why not? If you guys are LPing, if you have a smaller channel and you want to get better, maybe there's some tips that you can pick up from what I'm doing, or maybe you guys can teach me some things that I can do better with my workflow and with my content. So I think that might be an interesting little series, and maybe for some of you guys you can get a better insight into just how much work goes into uploading just a single video that you see on the channel. So that's going to be a video series that's coming. Another interesting one that I've been thinking about is the Ultimania guides. So they've started to re-release, I guess, or I think the older games already had Ultimania guides, I'm not too sure. But Final Fantasy X definitely had an Ultimania guide. And if you guys don't know what an Ultimania guide is, that's like a really in-depth guide on like the mechanics of the game, the script and the lore of the game, and all that kind of stuff. Final Fantasy X had one. I think it had 2 Ultimania books, one for the like mechanics and gameplay, and one for the story and the lore. But they were always they were only ever available in Japanese. They were very highly detailed, and a lot of the deepest insights and most in-depth knowledge that we've received about the game have come from the Ultimanias and the translations that people have managed to piece together over the years. But Square Enix are going to be releasing new Ultimania guides for the Final Fantasy games that they've made, and the Final Fantasy X one should be coming next year. Now, of course, I've talked about the Ultimania guides so many times while playing through the game. If the Ultimania guide does come out, then obviously I'm going to be all over that shit, because I need to see it, I need to read it, I need to see if there's anything new in there, and all that kind of stuff. I don't know what the format of the books is going to be, like how long they're going to be, what kind of information. Are they basically going to be translations of the existing Ultimanias, or they've been rewritten from scratch to include like you know, some of the stuff that's happened later on with like the audio drama, the novellas and all that kind of stuff. But what I might do, I'm not sure how it works in terms of copyright or anything like that, but I might want to try and turn it into like an audiobook series type thing. So for the script one at least, obviously I'm not going to be reading off like, you know, enemy poison resistances and that kind of stuff, but especially for the script type stuff, I might turn it into a bit of an audiobook where we read through the Ultimania together and I can offer in like my own thoughts and insights as I'm reading stuff through the story. So that could turn into like a mini series where I basically read, share and break down the Ultimania for Final Fantasy X for you guys, and I think that would be a lot of fun for me to do, and I think it might be fun for you guys, because I think based on the comments I've got over the years, a lot of people have this like Dansg08 ASMR thing going on where they like to listen to my videos like when they're trying to relax, when they're trying to sleep or whatever. Maybe that series, that little audiobook series, can be like a more legit kind of Dansg08 ASMR thing where you guys can fall asleep to me reading you guys some Final Fantasy X lore and stories and all that kind of stuff. So the Ultimania is something I'm definitely looking into and trying to make videos out of. So that's the gist. The LPs are going to continue as they always have. The non-Final Fantasy LPs will continue as they always have, and I will be trying to make more videos that are not LPs sprinkled into my general content. So that's going to happen more regularly than it has up until this point. I'm going to try and shoot for like at a minimum 1 a month and hopefully 2 if I can do it. So 1 every couple of weeks definitely sounds doable, and I'm going to try and sprinkle more of those in as we continue on the channel. The final word is going to be dedicated to the Final Fantasy stream. The 24/7 stream that has been going for more than 6 months now. We recently celebrated the 6-month anniversary. That was something that just like, it was totally just like a crazy idea that I had. I really wasn't sure if it was going to work or if anyone would be interested, but here we are 6 months later, still going strong, still getting like 60, 70, 80 viewers at any given time. Just in general, I've been so happy with what we've managed to do on there, the community that we've managed to build. I would say of the people that visited the stream, because there's been thousands if you count like individual stream visits, I would say like a good 98% of people have been really fun to talk to, have been really good viewers, have been like willing to contribute and be a part of the community and all that kind of stuff. So it's just been so rewarding and so much fun for me. I want to make a video about the stream, about its origins, about why I created it, about the community that we formed while creating it, about why it became something that I think was able to sustain itself. Who are the people behind the scenes that are helping this thing to run and helping this thing to be the success it is today? So I mean mainly the moderation team that are helping me out with this, that are providing really, really good moderation on the chat and helping to build and maintain the community and all that kind of stuff. So I want to talk about all of these things and give you guys like a big like video about the Final Fantasy stream that we've done and how that's all worked, and get you guys to meet the people that are helping me to run this thing on a day-to-day basis. So that's the final sort of video content that I have that I can tell you guys about right now that I want to be making over the coming months. So there it is, guys. That's what I'm up to currently and what I'll be up to in the future. I used to do stuff like Q&As and stuff on this, but I quite like to do those on Instagram now. So every now and then I do like I share an Instagram story where I ask people to ask me things, and I share some of my responses on there. So I would definitely follow me on Instagram, because you get to see a lot more of Coco and Belle when I'm in the UK, and like stories and all that kind of stuff. So Instagram is a really fun platform to follow me on if you guys aren't already. Hit me up on Twitter and all that kind of stuff as well. And I will see you guys very soon for more content. I hope you guys have a great Christmas period and a great new year. I have some really fun things coming up for that, and I hope you guys are going to enjoy them. Much love. Thank you for making this a wonderful 2018 on the YouTube channel.
You're not going to say goodbye? It's a bit rude. Bye-bye.